Thank you to everyone for joining us today at this public hearing for the inquiry into the environmental infrastructure for growing populations.
Urban development has brought with it many brand new, high quality local parks for our new estates, but maintenance and renewal of parks in adjacent established areas remains critically underfunded. And this is an emerging issue for council and one that's been exacerbated by the pandemic.
What Hume in our submission are seeking is an integrated and a sustainable and a socially responsible approach to environmental infrastructure. We want to get outcomes not just for the environment but also for the community that uses these.
Currently within the City of Melton there are no state-owned regional parks. However, there have been two identified in the planning, which dates back 20 years for regional parks across Melbourne.
Every interest has got its own need, but when you combine all those interests, we find at Wyndon, and I'm confident that other councils will share this scenario, that issues like trees and tree vegetation often lose out.
The growth is also reflected in perhaps a lesser known stat in the growth in the domestic animal population. Council recorded an average of 100 new dog registrations each and every week over the last financial year, the 2019-20 financial year, which has important implications on the provision of parkland and in particular the provision of dog-friendly open space.
The developer contributions or the infrastructure contribution plans as they're now known typically fall way short of the money required to build the assets.
Having a really agile planning system is the quickest way around this particular issue, because a lot of this is already legislated and enshrined as we all sit here today. So until we can start making some legislative changes there, we're not going to be able to cover that gap.
The projections and modelling show that we really, if we're not going to build a new desal plant, even with the desal running at 150 gigs per annum and being on full order with growth, population growth, climate change and increasing urbanisation, we don't have that water security.
There has been talk for many years about the need for a metropolitan open space strategy, and I would say that is a tool which would really guide where state investment should be driven, and that's a strategy that we've not seen delivered.
Are councils in agreement that you would like, or you think that it's probably time to review GAIC funding and whether the amount the developers are putting in is correct and appropriate for current day?
And where it is directed.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, I concur. I think it certainly needs review. That would certainly, I'm sure, be contested, but it's appropriate to review it and be clear on where it should be allocated.
What is the best way of sourcing the revenue and then applying the revenue to environmental infrastructure projects?
I think from my perspective, well, there's no easy answer to that. I think there's a number of sources of revenue. One is the developers. They should make a fair contribution to the infrastructure. It's not fair on them, however, to contribute to infrastructure that may go way beyond their site.
Wherever you go around the state, there are issues with parks managed properties, which is not a reflection on the organisation or the management. It's more a reflection on the available resource.
What is the funding that they've had over that time, but what is the funding that they actually need? Because I think we will find that there's a reasonable gap between those two.
On behalf of the committee, thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak with us today.